Good afternoon, everybody. This is Liz Davis. I'm a nutritionist and I specialise in digestive health for busy women. So I help busy women fix their digestion, their bloating, IBS, heartburn, reflux, etc., etc. And I do this with state-of-the-art testing and dietary upgrades, supplements, etc., to really help to get things nicely back into balance as well for you. And of course, your gut health is really pivotal in your immune health, your hormone health, and everything else. So if you've got any of those problems as well, then it's worth taking a look at your gut to see what's going on in there for you. So dairy then. I thought I'd do a quick rundown on dairy because it's I can still see that low-fat dairy products are proving quite popular and still seem to be flying off the shelves. But I will explain a bit in a minute about why they may not necessarily be the best choice for you, and just give a bit of background on what sort of symptoms you can expect to be the result of dairy intolerance or not processing your dairy properly, and what are the kind of better dairy products to be eating so you can avoid all that. So what's the matter with dairy then? What sort of symptoms do people get? So if you have things like digestive problems, general digestive problems, bloating, skin problems are very common, respiratory problems like sinusitis or excess mucus, postnasal drip or anything like that, you may well find these improve if you take dairy products out of your diet completely. So if you're someone who experiences a lot of bloating after eating dairy, then you're definitely not alone. It's a very common problem. So it could be that it's not directly to do with the dairy necessarily. It's often to do with an underlying imbalance with your gut bacteria. So you may not have enough of the bacteria present that need to break down the sugars and the proteins which are in dairy. So it's not necessarily the dairy, it's often this kind of dysbiosis, we call it. And if you correct the dysbiosis, then you can kind of go back to eating dairy, good quality dairy products quite a lot of the time. So yeah, needless to say, if you take dairy out, you can of course look forward to less cramping, less stomach pain, nausea, diarrhea and all the rest of it, for sure. So it's worth taking out dairy from your diet for a couple of weeks and seeing if it does benefit you in any way. Because it is true to say as well that some people are lactose intolerant to a degree, and they absolutely cannot tolerate dairy at all. So for those kinds of people, then taking it out, absolute no-brainer, absolutely do it, and just avoid it. So if it's not that, but that's not true to say that that would be the case for everybody. Everybody doesn't have that level of intolerance, and it could just be, as I say, this little bit of a glitch with the microbiome or whatever with your gut bacteria. And if you fix that, you can go back to eating dairy. If you have skin problems, skin can often be the place where a dairy intolerance will show up. So anything like eczema is typically aggravated by eating dairy. There's also lots of other foods that can cause this, but dairy is a pretty typical one. So a lot of people are worried about taking dairy products out of their diet because they worry about where they will get their calcium from. It's a bit of a myth that dairy is the best source or the only source of calcium. Not true at all. And what we need to bear in mind really is that you need to be having adequate levels of magnesium in your diet in order for your body to be absorbing, utilising calcium efficiently. So the magnesium is as important as the calcium. You can find magnesium in leafy greens, avocados, bananas, cocoa and chocolate products, etc. So make sure you're getting plenty of those in your diet to help you absorb your calcium. Calcium you'll find as well in seeds, particularly sesame seeds, greens again, your dark green leafy veg, Another great source is tinned sardines and tinned salmon with the little bones in. They are great sources of calcium. Nuts, tofu, etc. will all provide you with calcium. So it's not true to say that if you take dairy out, you won't be getting enough calcium, because although it's a good source in a way, it's not certainly the be all and end all. Another thing you could try is that certainly the quality of the dairy you're eating may be affecting how well you're absorbing it and whether you're getting a reaction to it, etc. A lot of people find they can tolerate, for example, raw milk. You can get raw milk quite readily available now. There's a few farms and places like that which will provide raw milk. There is fermented dairy, so things like kefir and natural yogurts. A lot of people find that much easier to absorb. What else is there? Yeah, so you could try eliminating dairy altogether for a couple of weeks and see if it improves things for you, and then gradually start to introduce things like yogurt and kefir made with full fat milk. So yes, the thing with full fat is, so if you take the fat out of the dairy products, then basically what you're left with is sugary water. So sugar and water, and we all know how bad sugar is for you, and how sugar is behind a lot of the problems that we experience with our health nowadays. I mean, particularly gut problems. So if you've got anything like you may have I don't know, for example, a candida overgrowth. If you're then having a lot of sugary water, in essence unbuffered sugar hitting your digestive system, then that could trigger all sorts of problems for you. So if you're going to have dairy, stick to the full fat version, organic if you possibly can. Is always going to be better, and the least processed as well is always going to be a better option. Okay, so I hope that helps you, and I shall look forward to seeing you next time. Okay, bye bye.